So the Switch 2 released about a month ago. I feel like that's enough time to say that it wasn't worth it. It's not worth $450 for a console that is plagued with problems, that's barely an upgrade from the one before it. That if you bought it on release, you may just be a little bit stupid. I know that's harsh to say, but I'm a harsh man. I've heard a lot of things, and not one good one from anyone who isn't a professional Nintendo dick sucker. I mean, what was really improved over the last console? It's got a bigger screen, except that screen is somehow worse than the one before it. Sure, it's 1080p, like every screen ever produced in the last 10 years, but it's slower. It's slower than the Switch 1 on release. It's about 100 times slower than the OLED Switch, which I can only imagine was intentional at this point, so that they can sell you a Switch 2 OLED at some point. And even if that bigger screen was up to par, do you really want a bigger screen? Is it even portable at this point? I remember when a portable system meant it fit in your pocket, so you could, I don't know, take it places. If you need to put it in a backpack, then just use a laptop. It's more powerful, can play more games, and maybe get some work done. I know you guys are allergic to that, me too, but we can imagine. Okay, well, the screen is worse, but what about the controllers? Remember, the Switch 1 had Joy-Con drift, that crazy thing that totally wasn't happening, that caused the sticks to just move in whatever direction they wanted, to slowly drift off into space, like I'm drifting this sentence way too long. Well, actually, they didn't fix that at all. In fact, people are already reporting Joy-Con drift in the current controllers, because they use the exact same system as the previous sticks. Now, those reports might be false. We don't have any major lawsuit this time, but they certainly have the ability to drift because it's the same system as the last console. And I personally, through the power of lying, have tested 900,000 Switch 2 Joy-Cons and figured out that every single one of them will drift eventually. You have my guarantee. But Frogmire, they're magnetic now. Isn't that cool? It is kind of neat. Except one, now, how you hacked the previous Switch, it doesn't work anymore, which was the only reason to buy the previous Switch, was so that you could hack it. Also, this somehow made their, like, shitty Joy-Con controller even shittier. Honestly, it might be a fair trade-off. I don't know who used that, like, shitty plastic connector thing anyway, but it's just a note that somehow they made something worse. They figured it out. Okay, so screen's worse, Joy-Cons are equal at best, possibly worse. So what else is new? Well, we got game chat now. Because before, you had to use an app. Now, you have Discord right on the console. Except it's not Discord. It's a shitty Nintendo service that you know won't work. You get to look at your friends in 360p. Oh wait, you actually have to buy a secondary peripheral to do this because the console doesn't include a camera. You know, the thing that's in every phone? So, rather than just connect to Discord, a free program that you can have on your phone, which already has a camera, you can instead connect to your Switch, where I'm sure the content will be heavily monitored. That, or your children simply aren't safe at all. From me, I will explain the Federal Reserve to all of the world's children, and you can't stop me. That you have to pay for, or you could just use a free program on your phone. Yeah, but the Nintendo chat has its own button. A button that you have to pay for and look at all the time. Okay, but surely the battery life might be better. Sure, it's not really a handheld because you can't fit it in your pocket, but you can still put it in your backpack, maybe play it on a plane ride or something. So how long's the battery? Oh, that's worse too. The battery life is worse too. It won't even last you a long flight anymore. Another win for the laptop, I guess. Surely, it couldn't have been that hard to put a better battery in there. It might cost a little more, but with the console already being $450, they couldn't have put anything better in this thing without making it impossible to buy for the normal consumer. Oh wait, except it didn't have to be $450 because the console in Japan sells for about $330. And it's not that the console was created in Japan, it's not manufactured in Japan, so it's not a shipping issue, so they could just charge $330 to everyone at any time. They're simply choosing not to, One, because the Japanese are racist and we must them a third time. And two, because fuck you, that's why. Oh, but you don't get it. The economy, the yen is down. You don't understand. Yeah, because I'm sure the Japanese consumer can afford less than those in Venezuela. So it's a worse console. Who cares? Who cares if it's worse? We buy video game consoles to play video games. And I'm sure the Switch 2 already has some great games. In fact, we have the whole Switch 1 library. That's a lie, by the way. It actually doesn't have the whole Switch 1 library. You can play some Switch games, and they may run better, possibly. And those that are guaranteed to be an upgrade, you get to pay $10 extra. Games that came out up to 5 years ago, you get to pay $10 extra to have it run maybe slightly better. Incredible. But who cares about those old games? No one cares about old games. Old games suck. We hate old games over here. We're Zoomers. We like new shit. And I bet you there's some great new Nintendo games. Right now, there's two. You got one, a $10 advertisement, and two, $80 for Mario Kart World. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. $10 for what is basically a user manual that looks like shit and isn't a video game. It's actually calling it a tech demo is an insult because it's not a game. It's the user manual that you have to pay for, but I feel like everyone's already shit on that enough. No one was gonna buy it anyway. Remember Wii Sports? That was free, by the way. One of the most famous games of all time, brought gaming to people who probably would have never played video games otherwise. You know, nothing special. Completely free. Came with every Wii. Better console in every way. Was actually new and innovative. I'm sure you've never heard of it. Anyway, what about the real first-party game? Mario Kart World. Can you believe I was actually excited for this? I'm a simple man. I like open worlds. You get to drive around in your little car. That's the point of the game, is driving around a little car. So I get to drive around in my little car all over this big world. It sounds pretty cool to me. All they had to do to make that big world is sacrifice literally everything that makes the game good. And that big world is completely empty. And there's no reason to drive around in it. You get a couple of tiny missions that aren't even tracked on the map and are completely pointless because all you get for them are stickers. You know, stickers, not characters that this game has about 10 fucking thousand of. No, you get stickers. Want to know how you get characters? A couple are unlocked normally by doing the main modes, and the rest are unlocked by a random item that people in basically last place get and doesn't help them at all, and may, not guaranteed, may give you a new character. Who made this? You have this giant open world that has challenges in it, and instead of giving you the only thing you could possibly want, they give you nothing, and then the thing you want has to be completely random. Are you fucking with me, dog? Oh yeah, but they have costumes too. Surely you unlock those in the big open world. You can, if you want to. All you have to do is drive into it as a character, then switch characters, and drive back into the same thing about 20 times with every single character that has that costume, because not even every character has a costume. Wow, that was fun. Totally worth having this giant open world for. And what did they sacrifice for this giant open world? Only every single other mode. Because now, to justify the giant open world, every track is connected, and you have to play those connecting tracks, which are literally just a straight line. They're called intermission tracks because they know they're bad. You know, an intermission, when you leave the theater, you are not engaging with the content anymore, and they force you to play them. In the online mode, people found a workaround so that they wouldn't have to play the intermissions anymore, and they patched it out. And how much was that game, by the way? That really good game that I've described? $80? Whoa, that's standard price though, right? $80? Oh no, actually that's the only game that's $80? That Nintendo has set a new precedent for video games for a piece of shit that is objectively worse than the last one? And let's just talk about $80. $80 for a video game. You know what I actually heard someone say? They say $80 for something that'll stay with you the rest of your life? That's nothing. The fuck are you talking about? These games are dog shit. You know for a fact you're gonna play these games one time and never think about it ever again. If you don't have brain damage, you're going to play Mario Kart World one time and immediately go back to the last Mario Kart, which was better in every way. Had more tracks, more characters, was more fun. Oh, but it didn't have 24 players. 24 players, that makes the game worse because you're just constantly hit by items and you're basically not racing ever. You can literally go from last place to first place in an instant. Nintendo used to be the budget company. You used to be able to get cheaper games from Nintendo because they knew their games, they weren't less quality, but they had less budget, so the game could cost less. Now these games clearly have less budget because they don't have as good of graphics, they don't have as much content, but then they also cost more. $40. That's how much a 3DS game cost at launch. $40. Half of what Mario Kart World costs. A technically handheld game. Even if you want to compare it to Wii, a new Wii game, $50 for a game that is higher quality, more fun, will be remembered for longer, and $30 cheaper. And this wouldn't be so bad if Nintendo games ever got cheaper. In fact, all you have to do is look at Switch 1 games on the Switch 2, and you realize the games don't get cheaper, they get more expensive over time. I can't wait for the Switch 3 with Mario Kart World Plus that costs $150. People bringing up inflation when it comes to $80 games is the dumbest fucking thing in the universe. What you should be comparing the price to is not the literal price 10 years ago. Yeah, sure, they had SNES games that were $80 and people bought those. But back then, you could buy a house for about $13,000. Now you can buy a crack house for about $200,000. Normal people do not have the extra income they used to. That's the point. Leisure needs to cost less. And we know the games don't cost more to make because they look like shit. And they're all online anyway. It's not like they're making discs or cartridges, and if that really is why it needs to be so expensive, make digital games cheaper. Oh yeah, that's the best part of the Switch too. All those great games I was talking about? You don't really buy them anymore. That's the thing, you buy a cartridge, and then there's no game on it. What's the point of that exactly? Well, it's so you can own nothing ever, and they can take anything they want from you whenever they want. Sounds like a real good deal for the consumer. Sounds like that console is worth $450. The idea of preservation for video games has long since been dead, but Nintendo was the last bastion of just regular ass video games. The other consoles have been doing this game download shit forever. But honestly, Nintendo has raised the bar because at least those other companies, most of the games at least had some of it on the disc. This is literally just a key code. So good luck getting that shit when they shut the servers down, like Nintendo does with every single one of their consoles. You can always buy digital though, except those are game carts too now, which is somehow a benefit to the player because now you can share your games online, except you could always do that. You could always just log into your account on another Switch, something you can't do anymore. If you log into another account on a different Switch, you have to trade the key card over because your fake cartridge is in the other console right now. It's not real. It's a fucking download. Compare this to like Steam family sharing, which already you could just log into your Steam account wherever you want and you get every single game that you have. But you could also just connect your account to anyone else and now you share all your games. Sure, you can't play the same game at the same time, but that's literally the only limitation. Why this is all so disappointing is the Switch actually has competition now. What the Switch 2 is competing with is the Steam Deck, which is $50 cheaper and is infinitely more open. The Steam Deck, you can play whatever the fuck you want on it, including every single Nintendo game. The Switch 2, on the other hand, plays some Nintendo games horribly, and you have to pay monthly just to get access to them, and they'll maybe add some more sometime. It's just sad to see Nintendo get completely outclassed by someone who is just copying off of them. I mean, what innovative features does the Switch 2 have that the Steam Deck doesn't? Well, the Switch 2 lets you use the controller as a mouse. Compare that to the inferior Steam Deck, where you can connect a mouse to it, or a keyboard, or literally whatever you want because it's your system. Normally, at this point, when you're talking about PC versus console, you'd start arguing about exclusives or price. but the Steam Deck is cheaper and has about 1,000 more exclusives than the Switch does. The Switch 2 is exclusively dog shit. You can have Mario Kart, but bad. Or you can have the manual, but expensive and bad. Earlier, I joked about a laptop being more useful than the Switch 2. The Steam Deck is that laptop. It's just a computer, and a computer is infinitely more useful than a dog shit console with no games, no flair, no Nintendo magic that has been featured in every other console they've made. I mean, fuck, dude, it even looks like a Steam Deck. It's entirely black. It has no color, nothing to stand out. Can literally see the wonder disappear. Oh, but the Steam Deck is hard. It's hard. It's just too hard to use. What, do you really expect people to be able to download an emulator? Are you insane? You could get a virus. People get what they deserve, because putting in even 1% more effort is not worth it. $80 games, people would spend $10,000 to not have to do something. I mean, what we're complaining about here is downloading a program. That's it. And assuming you're getting your ROMs like everyone else does, that's just one more download. So 2 downloads. 2 isn't worth it. That's too hard. They would rather pay a monthly fee for a shittier product, a more limited product. You see, that's why Nintendo will always win. It's not nostalgia. It's not man babies. It's not even your wife's boyfriend who buys the console for you. It's lazy people. Lazy people are what lets them win. They could charge $900,000 and lazy people would still pay for it. So let's talk about emulation on the Switch 2. So obviously you have everything that was already on Switch 1, which is a limited selection of N64, SNES, NES, GBA, some other shit maybe, I don't remember, that is objectively worse than just emulating on your computer or the Steam Deck. And now we have GameCube on the Switch 2. You can't run GameCube games on a Switch 1. It couldn't handle it. It's too weak. We all know the GameCube was the most powerful console of all time, but the Switch 2 can handle it. And the emulation that you have to pay for an online service for is worse than you could download on your computer right now. It's complete dog shit. It has extra input lag. The analog stick, they somehow fucked it up. It just doesn't work properly. It's like extra sensitive for no reason. And it comes with about 1/100th of the options of any free emulator on the internet, which means the games look shittier than they have to. But that's the Nintendo way. Pay more for less than you could get for free. In fact, that's the motto of the whole fucking console. I mean, just look at Switch Welcome Tour and compare it to Wii Sports. You pay for something that is worse than you could get for free. And you know, part of what made the Switch 1 so great is everything used to be free. If you had a little know-how, just a little bit, not a lot, you get any game you ever wanted for free. Now they'll just brick your ass. They'll throw your console in the garbage all the way from Nintendo offices. Now this one, personally, I understand, and it doesn't matter. You really shouldn't be online anyway if you're gonna be fucking with your Switch, but I'm sure some Europeans gonna be up in arms about it. So what is there left for the Switch 2 that makes it worth buying? Nothing that exists right now, but maybe the future. Then again, you could always just buy it in the future. I know, the crazy idea, but Donkey Kong's only a month away. What if all the Switch 2s are sold out by then? Is Donkey Kong worth it? Probably not. I mean, are you fucking with me, dog? What, have you listened to a word I said? Nintendo seems to be pretty shitty right now. I don't think a big monkey can save it. Then again, I do yearn for the mines, so I might buy it anyway. You see, normally, people will get to this point in the video and say, don't buy a Switch 2. The thing is, I kind of don't fucking care. If you want a Switch 2, you should buy it. The reality is, there is an infinite number of normies who will buy literally anything. It does not matter. They could put an advertisement with a literal piece of shit on it and people would buy it and say it's great. No amount of greasy nerds complaining about the screen being slightly shittier will stop them from buying slop. If you really can't stand $80 games and you can't stand Nintendo becoming more corporate and more greedy, you have to convince other people that it is socially unacceptable to buy a Switch 2. You have to make it common knowledge that if you own a Switch 2, women will not have sex with you. And if you're a woman, the other women will think less of you and call you names in the bathroom. Now, how do you accomplish this? I have no idea. Maybe screaming really loudly on Twitter. Not that any of that matters. I'm going to buy a Switch too, because I'm a monkey man, and I need to be in those minds. And you'll say to me, Frogmire, you are the problem. It's you that's doing this. You're the reason games cost $80. And what I'd say to that is, get fucked, normie. I hope all of your games cost $10,000. I don't like you, so subscribe for a Donkey Kong Bonanza video coming soon.